Hi guys, this is going to be the video for the MDC Mini Makeup this year. The regular MDC is in a totally different video because they're very different. So first thing, make sure that you have your whole face primed, eyelids and everything. And then usually for the minis, I don't have to worry about this, but foundation and concealer if you want to do that. But they really don't need to worry about it. So after that, powder, which is included in your kit. It looks like this, and it's a loose powder, which we haven't done before for MDC, but this is what I use whenever I do my makeup, and I love it. I really like it. It's a big, like, poofy thing. I don't know if this is actually how you're supposed to use it, but I always shake it to get it on here, because there's, like, little holes in the top that you can't really see, but that's how I get it on the puff. And then just rub it all over. You can also pat it, but rubbing is faster. So that's what I do. But it can be messy if you, like, shake it without covering everything. So just be aware of that. But this is, like, extra coverage, so you don't need a lot. It is making me look really, really pale. But it doesn't look like that in person, but it's okay. Okay, so once you have everything covered with your powder, including your eyes, and make sure that you blend down into your neck a little bit. We never want, like, a super harsh line there. Then next thing we're gonna do is eyebrows. If they need to, then that's kind of up to you. If you feel like their eyebrows are already pretty dark, then they don't need it. So this is their palette. It's all, like, for the most part, silvers and stuff. There is this color, Decadence, that is brown. It's kind of dark, though. If you use a light hand, you should be able to use it for all of them. Or if you want to go with something lighter, you can, like, get your own eyebrow pencil or eyeshadow, or you could use one of the ones from last year, whatever you use for eyebrows. But I usually apply that with a flat brush and then just move in little strokes, kind of to mimic like what hair would look like, to fill out eyebrows. So after that, and that's an optional step, we start the eyeshadow. So we're gonna start with Hazy Morning, which is this really light color up in the top. So you want a pretty fluffy brush, and you're just gonna go all over the eye from brow bone all the way down to your lash line. Now, this isn't, since it's such a light color, it's not super pigmented, and really it's more just putting, like, a cool tone over the eye, so the rest of the colors will blend better into it, than if we used, like, a nude or a tan shade here, for blending. So I'm doing a couple little dips in the powder and a couple little layers, but it's not super dark. It's kind of just putting a good, like, very light gray white base on my eye. And make sure that you do that on both sides, just brushing back and forth so you have a very good base to blend in. Okay, so after that, we are going to use another fluffy brush, but a smaller one, shorter bristles, and we're going to go in with Smoke Show, which is the not sparkly one right next to Hazy Morning. And you're going to use that to cover your whole lid from crease to your lash line. So this one is darker, and we don't want it to be crazy dark right now, so don't, use a ton of pressure, don't use a ton of product. We're just trying to start getting some color on the eyelid. That'll kind of work as a base for a lot of the other stuff that we're doing. We end up putting, like, sparkle over almost everything. So right now we're working with all the like base shades, and then we'll do that. Okay. So this doesn't have to be perfect because this is getting covered up for the most part. Just the sparkly shades aren't super opaque, so I like having something under them instead of, like, for the most part, other than just, you know, like your skin tone. Okay, so now both eyelids are covered, and now we're gonna go in with a flat brush. Okay, so a flat rectangular brush, and we're gonna use the shade Abyss, which is down in the corner. It's the dark one. It looks almost black, and we're gonna use that, and we're drawing. If you remember last year, the kind of like flag shape that we did, it's really similar to that. It's just a little bit more narrow. So you're gonna draw a straight line from the corner of your eye up towards like the edge of your eyebrow. So you have just a little line there, and then from there we're keeping that going from that point and then into the crease, and just creating that shape, kind of like an outline for where most of our eyeshadow is going to be built up. And then do that on both sides. If you struggle to get the pigment to really show up, a lot of the palette that we used last year, actually I don't remember if the minis had the same palette, but a lot of the makeup that we use is pretty buildable, which is really, really nice because it gives you a lot of different options. But sometimes it's hard to get things to be pretty pigmented. If you feel like you have that issue, you can always wet your brush just a little bit. It does make it harder to blend later on, like in later steps, but that can help with getting darker colors if you feel like that's something that you struggle with. Okay. So now you can kind of see that I have both eyes. This one is like flipping out a little bit more. But both eyes sort of outlined from my crease out and then down. So now from here, we're going to go in with Silver Fox, which is down here in the corner. It's one of the sparkly ones. It's like the second lightest shade other than this one up here. So for this one, I'm using, it's another flat brush, but this one's rounded. It doesn't have to be. These are just the brushes that I like using. But it doesn't have to be exactly the same. Overall, when you're doing makeup, you just have to find what works best for you. And the best way to do that is by practicing. I've been doing my competition makeup on my own since I started MDC when I was 11, just because that's what worked best with my family's schedule. A lot of times, like, my mom was working while I had to be getting ready for performances, and even at like competitions and stuff. At that point, I was just like a little bit better at my makeup. So, but I practiced a lot, and even if they're not doing their own makeup, still you practicing how to do it on them is the best way to find the techniques that work for you. Because I don't think I do everything technically correct, like how you should do makeup, but at the end of the day, all that matters is that it looks good when you're on stage. And I know how to do that. So I'm just filling in the whole lid here, like the whole part that we outlined. Okay. Everything's looking pretty sharp right now, and which can be good, but I do want to blend it. I do want us to blend it out a little bit. So we're going to go back to, this is the first round brush that I used when we put Smoke Show on. I have a lot of brushes, and I like use a whole bunch of different brushes. You don't necessarily have to do that. That's just what I'm doing. But we're going to blend out a little bit from this dark line that we created. Blend up a little bit towards our eyebrow, and we're also going to blend into the sparkle just a tiny bit so it's not super sharp. Okay, so now I have that kind of blended out, but I lost a lot of the kind of sparkle, so I'm going to go back in with the Silver Fox just a little bit. So a lot of times when I'm doing my makeup, that kind of thing happens where I blend a little too much and I lose some of the pigment in some of the places that I want it. So feel free to go back and forth as many times as you like feel like you need to get all of the different shades defined, and so it looks, I mean, this isn't going to end up looking natural, but so it looks like smooth. We don't really want any harsh lines in this. Okay. So now we have that. And yeah, okay. So now we're gonna go in underneath, just like to line the bottom a tiny bit, and we're gonna do that with Hidden Gem, which is this middle one on the bottom. It's a pretty dark, sparkly one, and we're just gonna start corner of your eye and just brush in a teeny bit. Just a little bit past the center of your eye, and you don't want it to be super low. This is like a very light hand, just to add a little bit more dimension to your eye. Okay. So now it is time for eyeliner. So the eyeliner for you guys, it's a liquid eyeliner, and it's kind of just like a marker. This is my like favorite style, favorite kind of eyeliner to use. I'm not going to use the exact same brand as you guys because I didn't get one for myself. I'm just going to use my own. But when I do my eyeliner, I always start so out from the corner of my eye a little bit where the end of my wing is going to be, and then draw the straight line to my corner. And then just looking front, I create the triangle that's going to be my wing. And I keep my eye open when I do that. That way I know that the wing is going to look right when my eye is open. Because when my eye is closed, if it's like kind of bumpy and stuff, that doesn't really matter. It really just matters what it looks like when my eye is open. I don't know how easy it is to do that if you are doing makeup on another person. It might be harder to get them to keep their eye open. like how you want it. And then just little strokes to fill in across the top of the rest of the lash line. Okay, and then other side, same thing. Okay. So these ones actually turned out pretty good, but a lot of the time when I do my wings, I end up with like swoopy stuff happening on the bottom and it's not like a sharp line. And I want to show you guys this trick thing because I feel like it'll make it easier to do eyeliner on little eyes. But I always keep makeup remover with me when I'm doing my makeup, and I just use micellar water and then cotton rounds, which you could do this with just a makeup wipe instead. But with my makeup remover, I fold my cotton round in half so I have a sharp edge, and then I go underneath my wing and just swipe along the bottom until I have a nice sharp line. And sometimes you end up with like a streak that goes way up there and you just have to touch that up a little bit. But a lot of times I found with eyeliner, it's easier to like overdo it and then remove it so you have a sharp point instead of like focusing so much on trying to draw the sharp point, because I am not always good at that. You can also get, I think it's Elf maybe has them, but they're kind of similar to the eyeliner markers, but instead of eyeliner like pigment in it, it's makeup remover. So you can have a pen that just does that. I just don't. I used to have one and I don't anymore. But this works. This works fine for me, so that's what I do. Okay. So now it's time for mascara. So this is the mascara for this year. It's the same one as last year, the Lash Princess one. So top and bottom lashes. I usually do my top lashes first, and then on the same eye, my bottom lashes. And then go back up to the top and just kind of go over a second time. Make sure that they're all fanned out and none are stuck together in any weird way or anything. Okay. Okay. So now, so since we're doing like silvery eyeshadow, if you have fallout, like if you have any eyeshadow that's collecting under your eyes, now is like the best time to get rid of that. So you can take more makeup remover and just kind of wipe out underneath, or you can also just go over with your powder again, depending on how much there is. If there's like a lot, you probably want to remove it. But either way, make sure that you hit underneath your eyes with your powder again, and up here if you did the makeup remover thing and you ended up with a streak here, You just want to make sure that your skin looks even all the way around now. Okay, so now we have blush. So you guys you're getting a palette thing, like this that has your blush and then a highlighter on top. So I'm not using that. I'm using my own, but the colors will be pretty similar. So the blush, you want to use a big fluffy brush, and then we're going to go all the way across over your nose and everything. So you want to kind of swoop down underneath your eye on your cheekbone, and then across your nose, and then on the other side. You don't want it super red on your nose. We're just trying to look, you know, rosy and warm. Okay, and then, so we're going to do kind of like 2 rounds of highlighter. So we're doing 1 round with this, which is just a pretty like natural shade. And then we're going in with the second round in certain places with one of the shades from the palette, the more like silvery stuff. Because that shade is going to be a lot more intense. And we don't want that necessarily everywhere. So again, I'm using my own highlighter for the natural one, but we're going to go on your brow bones right here. I always apply highlighter with my finger. You can get a highlighter brush. Those are the ones that kind of, they look like a fan kind of. I just don't have one, and whenever I apply something sparkly with my fingertip, it seems to come out more pigmented, which I like. So we have that. And then, don't know why I closed that. We're also going to do that over the bridge of our nose, up onto our forehead a tiny bit, and then along the tips of our cheeks, top of our cheekbone, on both sides. Okay, so now we're going to go in with Tundra, which is the lightest sparkly color up here in the corner. And we're kind of going crazy with this one. We're going all over the place. So again, I'm doing this with my finger. We're going to go on the tip of the nose. And I always apply this one in like little circles to kind of buff it out. You don't want it, looks fun. You don't want it super like clumpy. And then you're going to brush that up onto the nose. That is showing up really, really bright on the camera. Okay. And then after that, we're going to go back to the cheekbones, but we're not just staying right here. You're also going to go all the way up on the top of the eyebrow. So not quite where we applied before, because you're starting here, and then you're kind of swooping down in like a C motion. And same thing on this side. Okay, then we're going to go on the very like top of our top lip. Just a tiny bit. And don't worry, so we're trying to get it on like the skin here, not on your actual lip, but if you get it on your lip, it's okay because we're going to go over it with lipstick here in a minute. Okay? And then last one, the inner corners of your eye. So this one we do want to be pretty pigmented because this is going to make your eyes look really, really bright and really, really, I don't know, spacey. So both eyes, and then you're going to also like kind of blend down a little bit and also up onto your lid a little bit. So you really want to make sure this one is blended because you look really odd if it's just like a circle. But the rest of them we do want like pretty pigmented, pretty clear. That'll just kind of take like some practice for us to get exactly how we want, but that's okay. All the competitions, I mean, I'll be there to help. Yeah, so last thing is the lipstick. So it's a matte liquid lipstick. This is your guys' color. I'm using my own, which is pretty similar. Mine's just a little more dull, but this is, again, the lipstick that I use all the time when I do my makeup and stuff for competitions. I love it. I've been using this brand for years. So I always start by lining the bottom lip. And then I squish my lips together and then line the top lip. And just try your best to make them even. They don't have to be perfect, but it is liquid, so after you apply it, if you have them kind of just like wait a couple seconds with like their mouth open kind of like that, because otherwise it is really easy. It'll spread to your teeth until it dries, but then once it dries, it's fine. And that just takes a couple seconds. Okay, so that is it. It looks a little crazy on the camera, but also they are aliens, so. All right, well, that's it for MDC Minis 2023.